MASA. MASA. Hey, this is Rob G from MASA for the Raza. I got Jonathan Rome in the casa. How you doing?
I'm great.
Yeah, we're out here at Natividad Park. This is actually part 2. We had to do a retake because there was a little girl with a bicycle with training wheels. You know, I didn't want to kill it for her because she was on a roll. So we had to move in another little spot here in Natividad Park. But we're actually behind the community garden where. Do you know who got this started?
I'm not sure. I met the people who did one day when I was taking pictures. I was taking pictures of the garden and I ran into them and I talked to them for a little, but it just seemed like a mom and daughter kind of thing. I don't know who.
It's pretty cool. They have one here and now they have one in Central Park also. I think that's the lady that's actually giving a little tour too. So, but anyways, we're talking about you. Focus on you today. You're just getting out of high school. You're a senior, right?
Yeah, and I've been doing this film thing for about 5 years, ever since 7th grade.
7th grade, and here we go again. How did you start, or were you inspired?
No, I went to the movies a lot with my grandfather. Went to MASA cinemas a lot. You know, saw a whole bunch of movies. Obviously, I was a big influence, but I think the real turning point was John Hughes' The Breakfast Club.
Mm-hmm.
Love that movie. And I was right at that age where that movie started applying to me. So it was like the movie was voicing something that I didn't want to voice myself because I was too scared. And I realized that's the power that film holds, and I wanted to pursue that.
Is it the part where it's every single student had a different personality, or they were different, I guess you could say, but they were all kind of intertwined with each other, like kind of cool with each other at the end? Or what influenced you on that movie?
You know, that's exactly what it was. It was the different personalities and kind of seeing that clashing. And, you know, I was again, I started 7th grade, so I was still a little lost, and I knew high school was coming up, and I was like, oh man, is this what high school's like? Back then, I identified more with like that nerd character, you know, that kind of outcasted character, and but now, you know, going through it, I find myself in almost all of these characters, and that's just the kind of power that film had and held with me, you know, all these years.
What was your first like tool, or first? Were you taking pictures? Were you stealing your parents' camera? Or
you know, not as exciting as like Steven Spielberg with his dad's Super 8 camera. I had my 3DS, and I had no one to make these films with, so I just I had little Lego guys that did stop motion things because you could do that on the 3DS.
Dude, that must have took forever, man.
It took forever, but I loved it, and I got to make the movies in 3D. It was nice. I got to export them or whatever.
Yeah.
Then I got an iPhone, and that kind of led to me making these stupid YouTube skits, you know, with my friends, you know, 8th grade Johnny's immature humor and horrible language and whatever, and posting that on YouTube. And then, you know, eventually it developed into a camera and more cameras and more cameras.
I'm trying to purchase a camera to do these little skits, and oh my gosh, it's a head spin, man.
It is.
It's a head spin because it's really like exactly what particular thing you're doing, you know. You can't just, they're not like really an all for one kind of a ordeal. What I'm learning, you know, unless you, I don't know, spend $20,000 on a
I know, it's crazy.
red camera. What do they call it? Those reds?
The reds.
Yeah. Oh man.
Well, my camera history, I mean, again, started with 3DS, went up to like a small little camcorder.
Yeah.
And then, I spent a couple hundred on a Canon PowerShot, which is like, you know, it's a decent camera for anything you want to do. But where my camera started kind of getting more expensive, I was actually really blessed to have met the guy who executively produces all my films, so he funds all my movies. His name is Robert Ellison, and he's a local photographer. He lives in San Juan Bautista, and when I first met him, he lent me a camera to make a short film on, and eventually he ended up buying me my first camera and saying, look, you know how to pay me back? You just make great movies, and that's how you're going to pay me back.
Wow.
Yeah, and then, you know, conflicts happened. That camera ended up getting lost. I got another camera for my money, and then that camera got stolen from my house. Yeah, and then he provided another camera. He gave me one of his older cameras, and that's the camera that I use to this day. I've used for about a year now, a year and a half. But no, he's just completely amazing person. He opened up his heart and his wallet and just kind of funded me because he said he saw something in me and that I would be able to go places. And
Props to you. Yeah, and that's the biggest compliment you can give him is actually doing something. You know, he invested on you, and you're actually doing what you said you were going to be doing. So you have various little skits. The latest one that I seen was that Stupidly Happy. You know, did you have any before that? Before we start talking into that?
Yeah, I did. Well, kind of the timeline for what it was 2012 to 2013. I was doing my stop motion stuff, and then 2013 to 2015 was these stupid YouTube skits, and I call them stupid YouTube skits because they were no script. It was just my friends and I hanging out doing stupid, like how to kill spiders and whatnot.
Yeah,
like just dumb stuff. Yeah, and then in 2015 I made my short film Brise, which is this dance film. It was a very serious film, and that's when I started making scripted short films that were more dramatic, that I could focus more on elements and really take myself seriously. So 2015 and 2017 I made a bunch of short films. Some of them, acclaimed. I was featured at Watsonville Film Festival, Carmel Film Festival.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, got to meet some heavy hitters in the film industry, which was nice. And get my film shown there,
Is this where, because also I seen that you posted up on the 2018 Civic Entertainment Award that you won.
Yes.
Best Director.
Yeah.
Damn, dude.
No, we were nominated for 14 of those awards for the feature film that we're going to talk about later.
Okay.
The Hunt and Hunted. And that was the Civic Entertainment Awards were basically these student feature film awards based on the production company that's distributing my film in LA. So we're going to have one screening of my feature film down in Whittier by LA. And the production company, Bad Corner Entertainment, they're going to be funding that. And they take their movies and they do awards for, it's just for the students and,
That is, wow.
Yeah. Blessed to meet these people.
So, what high school you're hitting right now? You're at right now?
I'm currently at Everett Alvarez High School.
Everett Alvarez High School, and
yeah.
you're going to be graduating from there.
Mm-hmm.
Where do you go from there, or where do you?
Well, I'm heading off to LA. There's a film school, Columbia College Hollywood, I got accepted into.
Oh,
yeah.
Congrats.
So I'm gonna head up there, and I mean from there it's just make films. It doesn't matter if I went to film school or not. If I just didn't go to college at all, as long as I was making films, I'd be fine.
Right now, you're pretty much what I say YouTube University. How you kind of learn your shots and angles and
yeah. I did go to that arts and technology school, Millennium Charter High School, which was really awesome. I went there for my sophomore year, and they exposed me to a lot of people, a lot of films. That was my creative renaissance, was when I was producing short films like every other week.
I am so jealous with that school. I've seen when you were there, I don't know if they have the green screens. We
got full access to everything, man, and it was absolutely beautiful. And the teachers were really supportive. The principals were great. I mean, like I got to make the films I wanted to make. I got to practice that craft, but I did start everything off with YouTube. YouTube was what taught me, all the tips and tricks, and Millennium gave me a place to practice that with as much equipment as I could.
Jumping on that, because I wanted to talk about the filming, because now that I've been exploring, doing the podcast, now doing small little skits, just doing little flyers, just learning the whole process of it. It is not an easy thing.
No, it really isn't.
It is not an easy thing, and this is one of the things I want to talk about, and I want to pick your brain out because you've done a lot of skits, you've a lot of trials and errors. I'm pretty sure. I know there's a lot of hard things. But what was one of the biggest things that you had to learn how to accomplish, I guess you could say? Was it the filming? Was it the angles? Was it the, trying to get a cast? Or was it the audio?
I mean, it's always going to be a combination of all those things. Yeah. And really, I think it was the motivation, because you got to stay motivated the entire time. And when you hit those walls and you have people who are like, what the heck was that? It really discourages you. But if you, it's cliche, but if you really do keep doing it, no matter what, eventually you do get better. And I mean, if you were to take, my first film and then take Stupidly Happy and compare them, you'd see exactly where the growth is, not only in what I was writing, as you could tell, I matured in those years, but but just the cinematography and stuff. So yeah, like everything was a challenge at one point, but everything was an overcome challenge at one
Yeah.
point too.
So it's that emotional roller coaster.
Yeah, no, it was stressful sometimes, man. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's cool. So now let's jump into the movie. A movie.
The movie, yeah.
The movie. Wow.
Years, yeah.
The Hunt and the Hunted. How did that happen? Of course, the simple questions.
Yeah. Well, I had been wanting to make my first feature film since 2015, since those stupid YouTube skits. And I realized like I wasn't the most experienced at the time. I didn't have the best of the best or anything. But I had tried to make my first feature film for so many years because I read about how Steven Spielberg, he made his first feature film when he was a junior in high school, put it in his local movie theater. It was bad, and then he remade it into Close Encounters of the Third Kind.
Oh, wow.
So I was like, I have to make my first feature film before my junior year. Didn't happen. I had many attempts, but as far as the Hunt and how that started, it started out as a script called What Everyone Says About High School. And I wrote that script in 2015. I casted it in 2016. We were going to make it and completely fell through. And it was because I got a job and stuff, and I didn't, have everything in place at the time. So then I tried again in early 2017. I got it recasted, rewritten. And again, it fell through for different reasons. But I was like, you know what? This is my senior year. I want this to be my last my last hurrah as a high school filmmaker. So I rewrote the script entirely. I took out characters. I added new characters. I restructured the plot. And now I changed the title. And now it's The Hunt and Hunted. And I recasted it. And we actually did it. We made it. And that's really awesome. So I rewrote the script from August to October, shot from November to February, and I'm currently editing it for our May release.
Oh, so you're still in the editing?
Yeah.
Oh man, how far?
I'm tracking really well. It's a 75-minute film. So and with all the audio and stuff, some of us talk really loud, some of us talk really softly. So we had.
Okay. I wanted
tweaking,
you to say the audio was one of the hardest things because to me, I think that is. It's an art. It's not. It's just like the angle, the type of mic you need.
Yeah, and the performance. The performance was a big thing. Our lead actor, bless his soul, he's a great person and he's a great actor and stuff.
Soft
he talks really quietly, and compared to me, because I'm his co-star and we have a lot of scenes together, I talk very loudly, and so.
And you guys are working off a boom mic.
We're working off one boom mic,
and
we gotta,
oh my
we gotta move it back and forth sometimes. Other times we just have the mic sitting over here and we just gotta talk and try our best. So yeah, audio was definitely a big thing I learned with this film. Was kind of, I've dealt with audio problems before, but this film specifically, getting every line right because it's such a talky movie. Like every line had to sound correct and stuff. Yeah, exactly. So.
Yeah, that's yeah. I honestly I think that's one of the biggest. Till this day I'm still learning, and I really commend you for that because I'm doing a 15-minute bit.
Yeah,
a 15-minute bit. I'm gonna tell you guys, and this is what I want to kind of share is just, the behind the scenes. It seems like every minute for me, it takes about at least 30 minutes to edit something now, or just to make sure the volume, the level, the whole works. So something like this that we're recording, it might just take a whole week just for I can clean it up. That's why sometimes it is like an emotional roller coaster. Like, do I really want to do this? Like, do I want to record, but I just don't want to edit. Like, I don't want to deal with the editing thing. So as much as you try to get as, equipment and stuff, yes, it's great to have equipment, but no matter what, you're always going to have to go and do the post-production, I guess, and do that boring, long, hard work.
It's a lonely road. Editing is a lonely road.
Yeah, and sometimes you just gotta walk out, get a fresh, just go outside, go back in, start it again.
Yeah.
But as much as you can see YouTubes and all this, it really is that you have to get your hands, dirty, and you really have to go in and whatever shot you're doing or whatever, you just have to practice. So that's pretty cool, man.
Yeah, jumping off of that, actually, I remember as soon as we finished the movie, because what we would do is we would shoot the movie, I would take the footage home, I would edit it into a scene, and then just kind of stack the movie on top of each other. I remember as soon as we finished that weekend, I was in San Francisco. I was like, I'm not going to touch this movie right now. I'm really just like, it was so strenuous. I was like, I'm going to San Francisco. I'm going to cool off, clear my mind. And yeah.
Yeah, because you're kind of like, I'm done with it.
Yeah, I'm like, give me a
it's
couple weeks,
awesome, but I'm
please.
done
Yeah,
with
give
it.
me
I
some
need to
weeks.
breathe.
Let me,
Yeah. So the second thing that I'm experiencing, I want to see how it is for you, is light. Light is wow. I never
Ooh, yeah.
understand how powerful you need light. The angles, the
Yeah.
outdoor light, that's probably the most powerful and cheapest way to go. But even that, you
But
can
you
still
get those bad shadows
those
sometimes. Yeah.
bad hard shadows.
You got to
hard.
get the angles right, and then,
Yeah.
like the backgrounds might not look as good as some other backgrounds, but you
Yeah.
have to risk it. Do you want a pretty background or do you want the lighting to be good? No, huge issue. Like even now, I still haven't mastered lighting. Like you watch all my short films, there's some films where I utilize light very well, and I think for those who will watch The Hunt and Hunted, you'll see where the light was utilized, but we didn't use any light structures. So I know what 3-point lighting is. I know the front, the head. My film teacher's going to kill me for not knowing the actual names of it.
Isn't it with the top and the sides? You can say, in a sense?
Yeah. Those the 3-point lighting. I know that structure. I know how to use it. We didn't use any of that for this film. We used the natural room lights. We used sunlight, and we used
Any reflectors?
Yeah. No, actually, we had a reflector to use. But I kept forgetting it at my house, and I never brought it. So there are some times where the lighting is an issue. There are other times where you could see we actually had some decent lighting. I mean, we have a whole scene set in a theater, so we had full control of lighting, and it was
nice.
beautiful. But yeah, so lighting is a huge issue even now, and Doing Stupidly Happy was a big one because we had to get that ending with the sunset. That whole sunset was really hard to shoot because we only got the sunset for about 15 minutes, but it took about 40 to actually film the whole ending.
Oh, wow.
So most of it's just color correction. I brightened up the thing in editing, and then I clicked the sky, and I was like, I'm going to make the sky pink,
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It's a lot of post-production. Oh, man. Another thing now, it's also the actual shot. To be more specific, is it the film cut? Is that what the term of it?
No, angles, shots. I mean, like,
Yeah.
well, just
kind
camera
of,
work,
like what is it? We got cross-devolve, the J cut, the L cuts. You know what that
it's like those,
Yeah,
so,
when you're
so
blending
cutting and stuff.
the voice and everything like that. Are you playing with that, or are you just kind of straight cuts?
Well, I mean, like, so my cinematography has always been one of my most noticeable achievements in my films. A lot of people commend my cinematography highly. They say my camera work is really spot on. Because I utilize the 3-point or the
three. Oh my gosh!
I can't believe I'm blanking on this right now because like I practice in all my films, but that kind of thing. J cuts and L cuts I don't focus on as much.
Yeah.
But I will say that one thing I heard in this interview once was, there are two types of directors. You have the director who's editing on set and the director who doesn't care about editing on set. They're just waiting for the cutting room. I'm the kind of director who edits on set. So when I will film something, I will count beats in my head and I will make sure that cut goes perfectly with the next shot. And
that way you
I
don't
make
have
sure
to
edit it. Yeah.
so much.
So then when I get in the editing room, I just put them together, and then it comes out a lot better than doing it willy-nilly kind of way. I like having my things very structured and organized. Since I am the one who does the the directing and the camera work and the editing, I like to make sure everything's perfect.
What else can we talk about? Well, let's talk about the movie itself, The Hunt and Hunted. Okay, so you posted up it says this coming of age drama, two teenagers question their belief, relationships, and sexuality to find themselves before graduating. Without giving too much of it, like,
what's it about?
What's it about?
What's it about? You got I will expose as much as the trailer exposes. So you have two characters that are best friends. One is this very reserved, shy person who's a closeted gay, and the other, played by me, is a really egotistical, big personality person that doesn't want to be in a relationship. He just kind of wants to
be like a horn dog.
Sleep, horn dog, sleep around a little, and all that changes when he meets a girl who doesn't want that.
Yeah.
And and then Logan, the closeted gay character, he's conflicted because he's afraid that if he comes out, he's going to lose his best friend, and if he loses his best friend, he's not going to have anyone. So he kind of agrees to go on this date with a girl, and just chaos ensues. It's the chaos of high school, it's the chaos of finding yourself, and that's just what I really wanted to explore with this movie is that idea of finding yourself in high school, because you never actually do find yourself in high school. You find as much of yourself as you can, and then you go to adulthood and you learn new things, and you never stop finding yourself until you're dead.
Yeah.
And that's kind of something I wanted to really touch on with this film.
All right, cool. Besides this, you're a photographer, I guess you wanna kinda consider
more or
it?
less, yeah.
Poet.
Uh-huh.
You say he's author and all that. So you do poetry.
I do. I did. I've been doing poetry since 2016, and I guess the way I kind of got into that was my mom. She pulled me out of Millennium Charter High School, put me at Alvarez. She wasn't very supportive of the art thing, and so I went to Alvarez, and I was so mad. I was like, oh, I can't make films now. Like, what the heck?
Yeah.
And I was kind of using that as an excuse to not make films. And then my teacher, Mr. Hedgepeth, my English teacher, he gives us these optional assignments, extra 10 points a week to do something creative. And I did poetry, and I started doing poetry. Performed my first poem in front of the class. They loved it. I just kept doing it, and eventually I made like albums or whatever of my poetry.
Wow.
I did a the local poetry competition for teenagers. My first year doing it.
Do you do the one up in Steinbach? I know they had one.
No, I do the one at Salinas High.
Oh, Salinas High.
Yeah, and I know my first year I did it, I got second place, and then my second time that I did it, I got first place.
Oh,
and then third time I did it, I didn't place at all, and then fourth time I did it, I got second place again. And that was back in March of this year. So yeah, no, this poetry thing, and that's kind of been a ride in itself. Doing the albums and stuff was okay. It was fun. It's a nice little hobby, writing, and I like writing a lot.
I think that's a big thing. If if you love writing, you do write. I think it goes 100% well when it comes to filmmaking, because you got to do a lot of writing. You got to do a lot of.
Poetry is a lot of like introspective kind of stuff and analyzing, and it's with poetry. You've got to get your point across in as few words as possible, and in film you got to get your point across in as few words as possible. Otherwise, you have this really convoluted movie. So it was really good practice, and it was something I was able to bring to my newer films.
Yeah.
When I was doing this poetry thing, but yeah, the poetry kind of got me into. I was a keynote speaker at the Dr. Oscar F. Loy Elementary graduation or promotion ceremony, where I did one of my poems, the poem I won first place for March of 2017. I was a keynote performer at West End Celebration. I was asked to do a performance at Ciclovia Salinas, which sadly I didn't get to go to, and also the AIM mental health rally in Monterey, which I also didn't get to go to, sadly. But I got to do those. I got to publish my poetry books, and it was just a nice little detour from film. I think I did need to jump off a little, and kind of take a break. And then when I went back, I was more mature. I was more experienced. So nice.
You say you publish and you do all this. Okay, this is one of the things that I see people where it's kind of a standstill as far as, they got this, if it's music, if it's photography, it's whatever it is. It seems like they know how to do it, but they don't know how to take it to that next level, or even how to publish it, or even you say you got it, the films, and you got
these film festivals.
The film festivals and all this. Like, how? Like, where do you just kind of explore, or does the school help out, or you just find the right people, or
my teacher, Mr. Hedgepeth, that English teacher, he was talking to me about letter of recommendations this year, and he said the best way to describe me is someone who doesn't let anything stand in his way. If he knows what he wants, and he's going to do anything he can to get that. Google's a big friend of mine, especially when it came to the book thing, publishing books. I used lulu.com, which I found on Google. I actually typed my books on Cilentro.com. I buy the PDF for $14. I publish it on Lulu, and then Lulu puts it on Amazon.
Oh.
Yeah, and then I get revenue from that. So that's and like the movie, finding all these people, it's just branding, and I'm a really talkative person. I like talking to people. Robert Ellison was a huge help in funding my books and stuff, and he helped fund my films and kind of get me these places. The film festivals were just mutual connections. I knew people, they saw my films and they said, "Hey, we want to put you in this film festival, and we want to show this we want to show this 5-minute short film about 3 girls talking about their menstruation to a bunch of 80-year-old women, and and we want you there listening to them all laugh," and is a true thing. And I don't know, it's just a lot of people get derailed. They get they kind of get derailed from their creativity because, I don't know, maybe they're told they can't do it, maybe by themselves, maybe by their family, maybe by some other people in their lives. I just never let that get in the way. There were people, my mom was a huge obstacle for me in getting a lot of this stuff done, but the thing is I had
She had
so
different
many,
like
yeah, she had
wanted
different
something
idea of how she
different
wanted me.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
I got you.
She wanted me to not do the creative thing. She just honestly, you know, we never got along, and now I'm 18. I don't live with her anymore. We don't talk to each other anymore.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so unfortunately, that relationship, as of right now, is kind of on a hold.
Yeah.
But I was able to surround myself with people like Robert, like my amazing teachers at Millennium, like the creative students at Millennium, who just always wanted the best for me and always were my fans. They you know, they are my fans. Before, if I do get big and famous, they're still my main fans. Is the people who have been supporting me so many years. My grandma, my grandpa, you know, just always being there for me, driving me anywhere, you know, I needed to go. I mean, they just all these people combined kind of overpowered all the other people who were saying, "Hey, stop," you know?
Yeah. And you know what? A lot of times it's because of the unknown, and it's, you know, I get a lot of crap for doing this. What are you doing? You're stupid.
Yeah.
Like this and that. You always get that negativity, especially here. That it's very saturated. Unfortunately, you know, when I moved here in Salinas, that there is that saturation of negativity, which hopefully more and more, especially, gosh, I hate saying this because it just seems like I'm older and older. But your generation is changing that. You know, is really changing that. Doing movies like this, going out, doing poetry, doing just the arts, and just moving forward. And I really, really support that. I really love that. And that's why I'm asking, like, because I do see people that are at that point that they have something, but they don't know where to go from there, that extra step and stuff. So,
it's believing in yourself and finding the right people and just always doing it.
Yeah.
And if you know you're doing something that makes you happy, then you're fine. I'm a very liberal person. I believe if it makes you happy, you do what makes you happy. That's it, you know?
Yeah.
That's the bottom line. It's if it makes you happy, you do it, and you do it no matter what, you know? I'm not like the richest person in the world. I come from a city that is like the 9th most dangerous city in California. A city that isn't, you know, typically known for its art. And I'm here creating, and I meet these creative individuals every single day, like you, like kids at my school, the Millennium kids, like they have things to put out there.
Yeah.
And I try to help as much as I can. There are people, I do music videos for a lot of local artists that I really like. I've talked to people about organizing art shows and stuff because I mean, our generation is super creative. We have a lot of opinions. We have a lot of voices to be heard, and we can pursue these voices with our art. The next step is getting it out there.
Yeah.
And it really it's belief, and it's communications, and it's happiness, and that's the core of everything.
That's the key right there. Is like, if you really do love what you're doing, then just do it. If people listen, don't listen. And honestly, I think a lot of times it's just really, as human beings, you know, especially in this day of age, that it's so easy to just swipe to the next thing and not have that full attention. So just do it, man. Do it.
Yeah, just do it. No, yeah. I mean, like, you know, in a generation that's so ADD and always looking for the next thing, most of the people who reciprocate hate, or who will give hate on artistic things are people who just don't listen like the way that, you know, that you would want someone to listen. And that's fine. If they're not going to listen to you, then don't listen to them, you know? Don't give them the same attention that they're not giving you.
There you go.
You know? You know, like the people who do listen, the people who do love your work, I learned this fairly recently, actually. It's the people who will love your work and who will always support you like that, they're listening. And, you know, and that's all that matters.
Yeah.
You know, I could get 100 views on a video instead of 1,000. And if that 100 views is 100 people who are like you know, who are loving what I'm doing, who are listening to it, who are taking something, who are saying, you know, I need help with a film or whatever, can you help me? And I'm like, yeah, because you're listening, you're there, you're present. And that's just like a huge thing that I look for, especially in the people in my social circles.
Cool. Like that. The Hunt and the Hunted. So I'm seeing Tristan, Jonathan, which is you.
Yeah.
Mara
Salinas.
Salinas, Kazi, am I saying it
Kazi
right?
Medina. Yes.
Kazi Medina, and Jaslyn?
Jaslyn's Rose. Jaslyn Rose.
Jaslyn
Yes.
Rose. How did you find this cast? Is this group of friends?
Yeah, no. So in the casting process for the Hunt and Hunted, I kind of had to. I didn't get to do auditions or anything. It was like
you didn't have
just
like
talking to
that.
people. I didn't do
You didn't
that
have like a
because I was just like,
what do they call those montages?
Yeah, of the auditions coming in. No, I didn't. Unfortunately, no. No, it was like it was mainly just I needed people who would be there, who would be willing to give up part of their their lives to help me out with this thing, for nothing, like basically just community hours.
Mm-hmm.
Jaslyn had always been attached to the film. She was always going to play Rebecca. When we did What Everyone Says About High School, the second time when we started doing it, she was going to play Rebecca then. Hunt and Hunted came around, she still was going to play Rebecca. So that's how I knew Jaslyn. Mara, I'd known since elementary school. We didn't really talk till this happened. I posted on Instagram, on Snapchat. I was like, I need actors. And she was like, big role or small role, give it to me. I'll take it. And she's just a fantastic person to work with, just in general. And she's got such a great taste in music and just a great presence to be around. So I was like, of course, like come be this character, Then, of course, we have Tristan. Tristan, I was just having so much trouble finding the main character, Logan. Is this quiet, introverted kid. On Snapchat, I saw him in the background, and I was like, "Hey, who's that kid?" And he was in the play, and I was like, "Oh, he's an actor. Who's that kid?" And they told me the name. I went to rehearsal one day. I said, "Hey, you want to be in my movie?" He was like, "Yeah, yeah." And then he brought Kazi on. He invited Kazi to do it, and Kazi fit her character so perfectly. I couldn't have asked for a better person to play her character. And then as far as me casting myself as the other lead male, it was not supposed to be me. It was supposed to be my friend Dylan Allen, who's just this really great friend of mine, always been there for me. But he had too many conflictions. So when he dropped a week before filming, I was like, oh, crap, like I need to find a new person. And then I was reading the script again, and I realized how much, like, I put myself into all these characters, all their conflicts.
How much of a horn dog you were? No,
no, exactly. No, I took like pieces of me and I put them in each of the characters. But Hunter is this character that lives this big personality life with his schoolmates. But when he gets home, and there are some scenes in this movie that really touch on the fact that he is not happy with himself sometimes, and he's not happy with what he's doing, but he can't stop doing it because he's scared that people won't appreciate him anymore.
He's throwing this big show.
Yeah, he's throwing on this big show. And I
home.
related to that so much, and I was like, no, I need to play this character.
Yeah.
So I did play the character, and there was that struggle of, I wanted to be behind the camera, but I was also in front of the camera. But, it worked out in the end.
Yeah, well, that's a lot of shoes you got to,
A lot of shoes.
Yeah.
But you know what? A big help, Romano Mijangos, which his name isn't on the poster, but he is this incredible human being, just kind, soulful, and he gave up like so much time, so much schoolwork just to come and hang out with me and make this movie. He was our assistant director.
Well, if he doesn't graduate, it's your fault. You know that. No.
No, they're all sophomores actually. Me, Jaslyn,
wow.
and Mara are seniors, and then everyone else is a sophomore.
Wow. But are they all going to the same school?
Alvarez, yeah. So which was perfect because we
cool.
shot most of the film at the school. So it was literally like after school, hey guys, let's meet up, work from 3:10 to 5:30, and then we're off.
I see you also had like a teacher in the trailer. Is that actually a teacher or is that?
No, that was okay. So. Again, one of the original castmates for What Everyone Says About High School was Greg O'Malley. He was supposed to play the teacher of Mr. Anderson. When the Hunt and Hunted started rolling around, we changed the teacher's name to Mr. Fellini, and we were gonna still cast that Greg O'Malley, and he said, he would do it. But then a couple weeks before production, life got really busy for him. He asked if we could reschedule. I said, I don't know. I don't think we can. So I posted up a casting call, and Patrick Krupski, who's the one who ends up playing Mr. Fellini in the film, he responded. And I wish it were. I do wish it were Greg. I like Greg, and he's agreed to be in this film for 2 years in the making.
Well, it seems like you're gonna have probably more. So
yeah, no, and I told him like I want you in my next award-winning short film. Like so yeah, that's But I was just absolutely incredibly blessed to have this cast and this cast of people. Romano, our assistant director, Sonia, who's our sound person, just extremely fun person to be around. around. Jackie, who was basically every other production assistant who always ate all her food. Like you couldn't ask for better people to make movies with. And when I go on and when I continue making these feature films, I'm never gonna have a cast or crew like this one. I could be working with Johnny Depp and I don't know, whatever big producers are out there. I could be working with Steven Spielberg as his like coffee guy. I will never be part of a crew or cast as important to me as this one.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Oh, that must have been a tearjerker after when you realized it was.
No, yeah, I was like, no. I remember like because we took a break after filming, about 4 weeks. Yeah, we took a break and then I was like, okay, let's do reshoots. Our first day back doing reshoots, we were having so much fun and we were like, oh gosh, we missed this. And now I think we're all happy. It's kind of over. Tristan got to cut his hair. I got to cut my hair. Like finally, we all got to hit. We all. Mara gets to dye her hair now. Like it works out perfectly.
All right. So anybody else that you want to give kind of props to making this movie?
Making this movie. Yeah. Jeremiah Carbajal from Bad Corner Entertainment helping me out. Getting it distributed in LA. This is a big one. My grandma and grandpa driving, letting us film at their house. The school. Yes, the school. Mr. Rose, my film teacher, for donating the equipment. And being able to email my mom and say, oh, this is a school project, so he needs to do this. Mr. Fleming for being really supportive of it. That's the principal. I mean, I will say they don't all know the content of it. We do have some language in there.
Yeah.
But I think they're really happy that something this big is happening among the students, and so props to them, and of course Robert Ellison. Though he didn't fund much of this film as much as other films. I mean, this film is dedicated to him and all he's done for me, and like. Bless that guy. Like, I owe him so much, and he's asking for so little from me.
There you go, Robert, if you're listening, man.
No, he's going to be listening.
Much props to you.
He always says, like, I always send him something. Like, it'll be me talking about something or a table read or something, and I'll be talking to the cast, or I'll be talking about the cast, and he'll always be like, so where does it say that I'm a genius and a great person? Like, so he's going to hear this because this is the first time.
All right, so say it right now. He's a genius.
Robert, I love you, man. You're a genius. You're a great person. You're kind-hearted. I love your mom. Your mom's angelic, and I love both of you. I owe everything to you guys.
All right, now leave him alone. No, just playing. So after this, do you have anything in the back of your head, like
back of my head? You
want to do a short or another movie? Or
I definitely want to give it a minute before my next movie. I want to spend another 2 years writing a script, and I want it to be something, maybe something more professionally shot with actors that get paid and a more adult cast and a more adult story.
Yeah.
I'm currently developing this story called Captain Krusty's, which is basically about these two middle school kids who are going through emotional turmoil. One of their aunts dies, and is like the only person in their family who he really liked. So he convinces his friend to go with him to out of city to go to this new pizza place him and his aunt were going to go to. Trouble ensues. It's a really
it's like an
really
adventure to go to that.
It's an adventure to go there. Think like, I don't know, way back, Goonies, Kings of Summer kind of thing, and then that's going to be really fun to make. So I'm working on that script right now. As far as short films, I have numerous short films. I'm starting to make more mature films, after Stupidly Happy. I want to do films with less dialogue. I want to do films with a more adult cast and more adult themes.
Yeah, because it's more about the body reaction, right?
Yeah.
The whole...
Oh, yeah, no,
the
body
angle
reactions
of it,
is a
the
huge...
body,
yeah.
And you can kind of already see what's happening, the facial expression. That's, the less dialogue.
Yeah, so I'm trying to focus on making more adult films, and that's going to be fun, because I'm exploring that. All these films have been exploring like me, like kind of how I've been growing and the generation I've been growing with and the adult things that I'm starting to learn. So my films are going to get more adult, and I'm really excited for that. And then I have a documentary that I'm making about one of my coworkers at Chuck E. Cheese.
About Chuck E. Cheese?
A coworker at Chuck E. Cheese who's a transgender male who makes music, and he's amazing. He's just a great person. So I'm going to do a documentary about him. Hopefully get that into some film festivals and kind of get his story out there. He's a rapper. I'm
definitely going to be tapping on your shoulder because I got a little documentary that I'm doing myself. But anyways, so you gave yourself the pressure of June 2018 with
May.
a movie.
May.
Oh, May. Now I see right here the Hunted, because you have it on Instagram. which you can look up. It's The Hunt and Hunted, I guess.
Yeah, The Hunt and Hunted.
And right there it says June, so you're gonna have to change that. So May already.
Oh yeah,
man.
no, I need to change it. No, actually, we're actually having conflicts with that. With the release date, unfortunately. Because the idea was we released it at MASA Cinemas on May 2nd, which was perfectly fine because it was 2 days before Avengers Infinity War, so all the theaters would be fine. But then Infinity War bumped up a week. So we lost the date. And so now I have to try to find a date in April that I can slide into for MASA Cinemas, or I have to find a new theater. So we're struggling with that at the moment. That's why I haven't really released any solid release dates anymore. Yeah. But as of right now, the confirmed release date, we have June 9th is the screening in LA for sure. And then the film will be released on YouTube July or August, and that's whenever I feel like, that's if I do more screenings.
So that
in July.
date, that June is for LA, you can say.
June is for LA. For LA. The local premiere, we might do it in Monterey, we might do it in Salinas. It depends on what theater we do, what the dates are.
Yeah. Hopefully Maya, if you're listening to Maya Cinema.
Yeah, no,
because that's where you said you grew up, and
that's why I wanted to be there. But we're gonna have the premiere eventually, and we're gonna get everyone down there. It's gonna be a big event, and we're trying to also set up more more screenings like in Monterey and in Salinas. So and we're trying to get funding for that. So eventually we'll start a GoFundMe and see if we can get any funding for that. But yeah, then the film will be on YouTube in the fall.
Johnny Rome. You can go home now.
Yeah, well,
yeah, we're gonna.
I don't want to go home. It's too beautiful today.
Really
all this rain, man.
Yeah. Well, anyways, this is Rob G. Thank you for listening. Thank you for getting on the mic, Johnny. I really appreciate
thank you for having
it.
Me. I love it.
And best of luck on your movie.
All right, thanks, man. Thanks.
Cool.